G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags, and welcome to patch 1.47 grinding. Today's background video is an arcade match that I had the other day. This was a 9-kill loss. It's just going to serve as background for the discussion we're about to have. Now, I've had a chance to play around with the systems a little bit since getting back from the air show. Now, things have changed in efficient grinding slightly over the way it used to work with the X2 system and the way things used to operate. And it mainly involves around how the boosters work. So first things first, how did the old system work? Well, the old system worked in 3 parts. First things first, you get your interaction score for winning the game. This is every time you shoot an enemy aircraft and score a hit, every time you get a critical, every time you destroy a ground target or destroy an air target. You get a score that pops up on screen. This is your base score for interactions within the game. Once you've gotten that score together and the match is complete, these are tallied together to give you a total, and then are modified. Now the modifier is based on whether or not your team got a win or a loss. Wins are obviously more valuable, but there is a modifier for a loss as well. When this multiplication is done, you get your end base score, which is your third part. Now the end base score in the old system, when you got your X2 for your daily win, that's the score that was doubled. So the final calculation, your interactions within the game multiplied by your winning modifier gives you your end base score, then your end base score got a double. This was also the score that was doubled by your premium account if you had one. So say you earn 2000 RP as a base score before modifiers, you would then get an additional 2000 for your X2 and an additional 2000 for your premium account, giving you an end total of 6000 RP for the match. This is why ground attack in realistic battles was the most efficient way to grind prior to patch 1.47. You would score a high interaction score for attacking ground targets within RB. You would then get the win modifier for RB. Now the win modifier for RB was significantly larger than the one in arcade, second to only the sim battle modifier. However, with the lack of target markers on the ground, players would generally get more ground kills and interactions within realistic battle than they would within simulation. This nullified the slightly larger bonus of the sim modifier just a little bit. And then this end total was doubled for the X2. Now the key was the high interaction score and the large win modifier, giving you a great base score for the daily double and your premium account to jump off. So how does this work in patch 1.47? Well, it looks like the boosters do not affect your end score, but actually apply their multiplier to your in-game interactions RP value. So for example, you score a critical hit in RB, it's worth 100 RP, but you're running a plus 75% booster. That critical will now be worth 175 RP. The booster is applied to the value of each individual hit and interaction within the match, not the total of the hits combined at the end of the match. From this point on, however, the system appears to work exactly the same as it did before. Your now boosted interaction score is tallied together. It's then modified depending on your win or loss for the game mode that you're in, and that gives you your base score. Now if you have a premium account, it looks like your base score is still then what is doubled by your premium account if you have one. So that gives you your end result. So how does this change efficient grinding in 1.47? Well, as I said before, prior to 1.47, ground attack in RB was the way to go. Now in 1.47, arcade battles is king when it comes to efficient grinding. The reason for this is simply the amount of interactions you can get to have those boosters apply modifiers to. For example, a B-17 in realistic battle will take 1, maybe 2 good strikes before its wing just disintegrates. In arcade battle, you can get 6 or 7 criticals and maybe upwards of 10 hits on just that one aircraft. All the fighters are stronger, so you'll usually need 2 to 3 solid scoring hits on each aircraft rather than just the one you'll need in realistic battle. So you're multiplying the number of interactions you have within the game by at least 2, if not 3 times the sheer number. If you have a bad run and get a plane shot down, you can simply deploy a new one and go at it again. So you can keep up those interactions the whole way through the match. Now these interactions are modified by the boosters the whole way through, giving you an extremely high score. Now why the arcade modifier is much smaller than the realistic one, the sheer number of boosted interactions means you'll come out with a score equivalent to that of between 2 to 3 kill realistic battle. Now the catch on this is arcade battles rarely last longer than 10 minutes. Your realistic battles last between 20 and 30. Now this means you can play 2 to 3 of these arcade battles boosted in the same time it would take you to play one single realistic battle. So just to be perfectly clear, because I don't want to muddle anything up here, the booster is only applied to your actions within the game. As soon as the match ends, your booster is no longer applied to any of the calculations that happen after. Now, the way this system is working is also why many extremely skilled realistic battle players are not seeing any noticeable effects from the boosters when they apply them. An extremely skilled realistic battle player with extremely good aim and control of his shots will take down an aircraft in a single strike. They'll only need to shoot you once, and you're dead. They might get 3 kills in a match. That's a pretty good match. 3 kills is not bad for realistic. But they might only have to actually pull the trigger 3 times and score 3 critical hits the entire match. Since the booster is only modifying those initial strikes, they are only getting their 75% boost on 3 strikes 3 times, and then the modifications go through as normal. This is also why the RP earnings are so much lower in comparison to your X2s, because your X2 would modify your end score after the modifier. You're modifying a significant number. Even if you achieved very little within a win match, say you took off, managed to strafe out 2 or 3 soft targets on the ground and then got shot down by somebody, you would still pull a score that was almost 2000 RP. That's because those base interactions were modified by the team's win, and then your X2 was a multiplication of that multiplication. Now, I have been asked, why does it appear this patch that US forces seem to be earning more RP than other nations? Well, it's because of how this system is working again. Most United States aircraft are armed with 50 caliber machine guns. 50 caliber machine guns, as a general rule, will not one-shot kill aircraft. You'll need to score 2 or 3 good hits, even in RB. Those 2 or 3 good hits with 50 caliber machine guns are all modified by the boosters. Aircraft with large, highly efficient cannons that are very quick to take down aircraft are actually going to earn less RP than aircraft that have to hit targets on multiple times in order to be able to score. British aircraft are going to score very well, especially up to around Era 3, because while they do have 220mm cannons for efficient killing, they're going to be able to hose people down with those 7.7s. Now, as much as they don't do any damage, every time they hit, it gives you a score that can be modified by the boosters. Japanese Zeros will have exactly the same abilities because of their 7.7s hosing down targets before the cannons finish them off. They're going to score multiple hits before the kill, giving them more interactions that can be modified by the boosters, and as such, give a higher base score. Now, the planes that are going to lose out are going to be things like the D-13 and, well, any aircraft that is armed exclusively with cannons. As a general rule, these aircraft won't need to hose people down. A single solid hit should split the enemy aircraft in half if you aim well and apply it to the right point. These planes are not going to score as many hits, they're not going to score as many interactions, therefore they are going to have a lower number of interactions that can be modified, and therefore a much smaller result out of these boosters. So, the most efficient aircraft to grind with in War Thunder in patch 1.47, well, being as you're in arcade, it doesn't really matter whether or not you want to go air or ground targets. You never have a shortage of things that you can potentially kill. But you want something that's got machine guns. You want something that's going to have to score multiple hits. P-51s are going to be great. Any of the Spitfire's non-Griffin varieties that still have the 7.7s or at least the 50 caliber machine guns still built in that will score multiple hits. But in the end, being as it's arcade, it doesn't really need to be even a single aircraft, because you can put a line together and just do everything. Shoot down as much as you can. That's really the key to grinding in patch 1.47. Get into arcade, apply your boosters, and then hit everything you can. The more interactions you can get, so the more air kills, ground kills, hits, criticals, the more players you can set on fire. Fire is a really good one if you can set it off, because even after you've disengaged from the target, every few seconds that target gets a hit. Each one of those hits gets a booster modifier to it. So get as many interactions as you possibly can, and then of course try to win. Now, the last thing I want to add on the end of this, the most efficient way to grind, even better than anything that I've possibly ever described or ever talked about grinding, is not to grind. If you're just playing the game and enjoying yourself, having a good time, you will unlock everything in a set amount of time and have an absolutely great time along the way. These are not suggestions for everybody. These are for players who specifically want a particular aircraft or tank and want to unlock it in the shortest amount of time possible so that they can play it. This is what I'm finding is working now in 1.47. But if you don't want to grind for anything, don't. Just play the game whichever way you want to play and enjoy yourself. And that is the other thing that I want to mention too, guys. 1.47 is extremely fresh. This is an extremely new system. Gaijin has already made changes to how the shop operates. It's highly likely that they will make changes to how this system operates. So this is the way it's working now. I'm just giving you a heads up on it. It's quite possible this system could change before I even get this video uploaded. It could change within a matter of weeks. I expect they would probably keep it in place for at least one full patch before they look at making any adjustments to it. However, it is possible that this will change in the future. So this is just for the now. This is my advice. I hope you have some success with it. Anyways, ladies and gents, click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.